I'm Cameron Bonsey, and welcome to the first episode of the You Were Born to Run podcast. I am hoping to inspire and make people laugh using running stories as a basis for inspiration and learning. And on the introductory song, as it comes in, the last line you probably heard is, "Sometimes I want to give up, but I know I never will." And I think that's a great line for running, but life. And the people behind me on my screenshot are my oldest son, Brandon, who's over my left shoulder. On this particular shot, ran for Georgetown, currently coaches at Georgetown. My daughter, Courtney, coaches at the University of New England. And my son, Sam, is a podcaster himself, focusing on running. They all have great stories. And I thought that today, just to start it off, I would tell a story, well, about myself, but about my father. Support, but really a lot of humor. And there was something happened to me that will never be replicated in running, and it involves setting a record at a university, and this will never happen again. I was a freshman at the University of Maine in Orono, and I had been, it was the fall, well, it's actually right before Christmas. I had been I was a state champion and set a record in high school. I wasn't any spectacular runner, but I had come to college as a freshman, was training a lot, getting myself in shape, trying to focus, which was always a problem for me. And we had our pre-season meets. We had a time trial at the beginning of December. And I had run the 800 in high school and the 400. In that time trial, I actually tied the facility record for the 800 meters. And I was very excited. I had improved my time dramatically from high school. And my father, who starting probably in my sophomore year of high school, well, I was winning a lot, so he loved to come to the meets. He couldn't wait to come up to our first home meet, which was against the University of New Hampshire. Very strong runner that I can't remember his name now, but he had won the New England championships the year before. I was going to race him in the 600-yard race, and I'd never run one before. Coach told me, pass him at 300 yards and see what you can do. And that's exactly what I did. I passed him. He didn't expect that, and he beat me by a step. But it was a great start to my freshman year, as I just barely lost to the New England champion from the year before. So my father came up to me and said, this is the way he talked too. He said, "Cameron, I know you're going to the University of Vermont next weekend, but I'm not going to go. I've got a meeting, so I'm not going to be there," which actually was a relief to me, because I was thinking, I don't need anybody. I'm tired. It's my freshman year. I don't really need somebody watching me, putting the pressure on me. And so the next week, and people will find this hard to believe in today's world, but this was 1977 in the fall. I got on the bus to go to our first away meet. It was on a Friday, so we were just spending Friday night in Vermont. Got on the bus with the triple jumper that was a senior, and a little crazy sat next to him. He was in the same, I knew him from obviously track, but he was also in the same dorm, partied with him a few times. And he actually had beer. Yeah, I know. Sounds weird. It was. So we headed on to Vermont. At some point during the trip, we started drinking the beer on the bus. Nobody said anything about it. People didn't really know we were drinking, but we were putting the cans up above the top where you put the suitcases and stuff. So you could hear that noise when the bus went around the corner, clink, 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 clink. And in that process, started to get a little tipsy. And when we stopped for teen dinner, everybody got out of the bus, ran in to the restaurant to eat. And he and I went across the street to the package store, got more alcohol, continued to drink, got to Vermont fairly late on a Friday night. Instead of going to our rooms, we decided that we were in Vermont. We might as well see what Vermont offers. So we went to several dorm parties, fraternity parties. We may have smoked a little cannabis, drank a lot of beer. We almost got beat up at a fraternity party because I tied a guy's shoes together who was passed out and a fraternity brother. Yeah, it was close. We had to untie his shoe. But I got back in, I don't know what time, skipped breakfast, dragged myself out of bed, got to the track, which was 5 times around for a half mile. And I was laying there stretching and feeling horrible, as I should have been. And I looked up and I was stretching, but thinking, this is all right. I started out, I tied a track record in my time trial. I almost beat the New England champion in my 600. I'm running an 800 today. Who cares if I suck? And as I was stretching there, looking out, I looked down to the end of the track and I see this guy walk in the door. He's walking towards me. All of a sudden, I realize it's my father. And he has come to Vermont because his meeting got canceled. And he took a flight from Portland, Maine to Vermont to watch me run. And I was thinking, oh, shit. And he came over and he said, well, my meeting got canceled, so I thought I'd come over. That was not good news to me. But what it did in that moment was it said to me, all right, you went out and partied, you made that choice, but maybe you should step it up and see what you can do. And I went to the line and I just said, screw it. I'm just going to go. If I die, I die. If I don't, I don't. Took off. I think I led the entire way. Crossed the finish line, won. Actually didn't feel too bad. And I knew from what I'd seen on the facility record sign and what I saw for a time, which was not very fast. I'm not even going to say it because it seems so slow today, that I had set the facility record. And my father came up and said, oh my gosh, that was a good run. And I said, yeah. I said, actually, I set the facility record here at the University of Vermont. And he said, are you sure? I said, yeah, Dad, it says right over there on the wall. So I left. I hadn't failed. I set a track record. And my father, who is he's no longer alive, more of a historian, especially when it comes to family history. And he said, he didn't actually say, he actually went home that night and wrote a letter to the Vermont coach to ask if I had set the track record in the 800 meters that day. He wanted to make sure, probably wanted to make sure it was listed on the wall there too. So I didn't think anything of it. And a few weeks later, he got a letter back from the University of Vermont coach. And I have a copy of it somewhere. But the letter says, yes, my father's name was Osmond. Yes, Osmond, You did set the track record. You're off to an incredible start in your freshman year. Congrats. Well, Osmond Bonsey's name went up on the wall at the University of Vermont as the record holder for that event at the University of Vermont. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Never did anything to correct it. We never tried to correct it at all. And then, fortunately for me, I went back 2 years later, ran the same event, and broke my father's record. So that's why that will never happen again. So that's one story. I got a lot to tell, and these kids behind me have a lot to tell. If you have a story that you want to tell that was inspirational, funny, emotional, whatever it is, I'd like to delve into it. I'd like to tell the story of how, for me personally, running has had a tremendous impact on my life. Personally, the impact on my kids' lives, they all have certain stories to tell. That ability to teach based on the concepts of running and the basics of getting back to your core, caring about each other, and doing the best you can. That's what we want to discover here. I hope you'll listen, and I'll see you next time.
I was born to run, I was born to live, I was born to lead. And I was born to never give up, and always, always believe. 'Cause you were born to run, you were born to live, you were born to lead. You were born to never give up, and always, always believe. You were born to never give up, and always, always believe.